Jan here from Backroad Buddies, and the video we want to share with you today is about our mods for Season 6 2024. Now these mods are just changes we made as we were getting ready for our travels for 2024. None of them are really major changes, just kind of tweaks. So if you don't want to sit through all of them or just interested in a couple of them, you can look in the description below. There's links to each of the different mods so you can jump right to them. Mod 1 is we had warranty items serviced. So this isn't really just one mod, but there were several recalls while we were on the road in Season 5 in 2023, and there was just some other warranty items we needed to take care of. So we got that done with our dealer over the winter before we started traveling again. These included the Balmor recall, the stove recall, there was a blind spot recall. Let me check my list here. And there were some things that we specifically had to have done. When we first got our rig, the one bed platform was warped. And so we had that on order, but it didn't arrive before we left on Season 5. So we got that replaced. Our dealer held on to it for us. So that was nice of them. And another one near the end of Season 5 is the cassette blinds in the bedroom. Both of them broke right before our 1-year warranty expired. So we had no problem having our dealer get those replaced, so that was replaced. And then the third item was our gray tank sensor. It had been getting a no communication error, so they just went ahead and replaced it. So actually, since we've had that replaced, we've had the no com error come back, but we don't really rely on that gray tank sensor too much because we always dump our gray every time we fill our fresh, and so we know we aren't going to overflow our gray. So it's not a big deal for us, but it still is an issue for us. We were also glad on the Balmor recall that they didn't mess with the DC to DC charger that we installed. We kind of installed that during Season 5 to kind of get around the Balmor alternator issues, because we disconnected that and then we were able to charge off of the chassis battery with the DC to DC charger. And we wanted to keep that. For one, it just means we've got more charging capability when we're driving down the road to recharge those batteries. Plus, we had switched over our solar controller from the one that was provided in the EKKO to that same unit that's charging off the chassis battery. So we wanted to keep that there. So that was nice that they left all those connections alone. Mod 2 is installed a smart plug. So this is the smart plug. Now the EKKO comes with a shore power connector here. Keith didn't really like the way that connector worked. He didn't feel like it was really secure, so we replaced it with a smart plug. So we had to replace this unit here, but it also meant on our electrical cord we had to replace the connector on the end of that as well. And so this snaps in here and really makes a much more secure connection. It's not going to get pulled out or fall out, and comes right back out. Mod 3 is install a pad underneath the Lagun table leg. So this is the Lagun table here, and we normally just leave this leg installed all the time, but the bottom of that leg is a little sharp, and we were concerned if it was resting on the flooring, it might cut it. So all we did was add a little pad. This was a little scrap foam pad we had from something else, and just stuck that underneath there to keep that from cutting into the floor. Mod 4 is installed a rear view mirror camera. Now the camera we installed, this is the display for it, just so it looks just like a rear view mirror. We had removed the rear view mirror during the first season we had this because there is no window at the back, so the rear view mirror didn't really make any sense. This has a camera on the back, and we ran the cords kind of around the windshield. The power plugs in up here, and then there's a cable that runs down along the other side and into the engine compartment underneath the vehicle and up to the camera in the back. We basically followed the instructions of Michael Townsend, who had done a nice post on the Facebook group for the Winnebago EKKO owners and wannabe group. So thanks to Michael, we had some wonderful instructions to follow. And what's kind of nice is you can actually use your finger to change the angle of the camera. So in a sense, it's kind of like you would adjust a mirror up here for a mirror. So we really like having that and having the view out the back again. So as you can see, there's actually two cameras up there. The big box there is the backup camera that comes with the EKKO, but that's only on when you're in reverse. It's the little camera on top of that box that's the actual camera that came with the rear view mirror camera. Mod 5 is installed an AC silencer kit. Now the AC unit sits right above the beds and it's kind of loud. So we bought the EKKO AC silencer kit, and it was a pretty easy install to follow those instructions. And it seems to help quite a bit with the noise, although we haven't really been using the AC much so far on the season. Mod 6 is replace the Xantrex controller with a Bluetooth version. So this is the Xantrex control panel for the inverter, if you can see it with all the glare on there. And there are some setup settings that you might want to change on a somewhat regular basis. And going through the screens on the control panel are really a pain in the butt. You kind of have to cycle through them all. And so having the Bluetooth version allows you to connect it up to an app on your phone, which makes it so much easier to go in and check error codes and change settings. Mod 7 is we bought a new set of tires. So here are the new tires here. The factory tires got us through the first season, but they needed to be replaced. So these are Toyo tires. I think that's like 205/75 R16s, if that means anything to you. So we're hoping these will last a little longer than the factory ones. Mod 8 is fix the overhead rattle. Now our EKKO came with the entertainment package, so we had a TV monitor up here. So we actually removed that and we created this little front cubby space. However, there was a rattle up here that was driving Keith nuts. So at the end of season 5, he took it all apart. He actually cut a section out of the floor of this little cubby and pulled that up, and it looked like what was causing the rattle was the floor of this was rattling against the metal frame pieces underneath there. So he added some double-sided tape and put that back down, and then you see he added some of this carpet too to help muffle any sound, and that seems to have fixed the rattle and we don't hear anything at all now. Mod 9 is upgraded some of the USB socket outlets. So there were two we replaced in the bedroom here. These were those cigarette lighter style, so we replaced them, and these have USB-C in them since most of our devices are now USB-C. And then we also replaced the one up here by the front, the side entry door here, with that same style of socket. So now we also don't have to worry about finding adapters to go from USB to USB-C either. Or the cigarette lighter style, they have a tendency to kind of get loose and half fall out, so that was kind of nice having that permanently installed in there. Mod 10 was made a better silverware bag. Season 5, we actually had kind of a pencil bag, I guess it was designed for, that we had found, and we threw all our silverware in there. So 4 sets of silverware plus, you know, like soup ladle and serving spoon and iced tea spoon. We're all in this one compartment. And you would think that would be fine, but having it all in one compartment seemed like it was really a struggle to find the particular utensil you wanted, and half the time you had to kind of just grab the whole wad out of there and figure out which one you needed. So I actually sewed a better one that has dividers in it. Now, it actually took me a while to really design this. I am not a seamstress, so I wanted to make sure I didn't have any, rough edges of material showing, and so it really took me a while to come up with a design. And actually, this is the second version. The first version I did, so it's basically a box that's sewed up in the corners, and then there's this sling which is sewed down to the center and forms the center divider there. So we have 3 compartments. One's the knives and kind of miscellaneous. One is the spoons, where we put the teaspoons in the opposite direction from the soup spoons, and the salad forks opposite of dinner forks. And so now it's real easy to go right to what you want, and there's a little pocket on the side for a little paring knife. So the original version I made was based on that pencil bag, and for stiffener on the side there's like blank stencil plastic I stuck in there because I wanted it to stand up. I liked that on the pencil bag because it kind of stood up, and I was concerned that it wouldn't, but it was a little taller, and the pencil bag would kind of flop over nice to go into the drawer, but the taller one of my version wouldn't really stay flopped over. So we actually lived with it during our solar eclipse trip down to Texas for a week and decided that wasn't really going to work. So I had to pull the sewing machine out again and make version 2. So this is version 2, so it's shorter and it sits nicely in this drawer, and everything closes up nicely. And I like having kind of the 2 layers here. So I pull this out, I can easily get to all my cooking utensils underneath there, and I can haul this out to the picnic table or the dinner table, and we have all our silverware right there. So we're really happy with this version. Mod 11 is added a strap across the bathroom medicine cabinet. So here's the medicine cabinet. There's 2 shelves, and this one, it does have a little bit of a metal lip, but this is a tall shelf, and we have a tendency to put tall items on here. And during season 5, it only seemed to happen to me, not to Keith, but I would go reach in here and I was always knocking things, not always, but every now and then I would knock things off the shelf. I mean, it really wasn't an issue when you're driving, when this is latched shut, because the door holds everything in there. But when I was trying to, get to something, and things would flop out. So we added this little, it's actually a Velcro, so we can adjust it. But if you notice, it's at an angle because the hinge is in the way, but that nice little strap is all we needed to keep things from flopping out of there. Mod 12 is add a soap holder in the bathroom. So during season 5, we just left our hand soap sitting on the kitchen counter, and then every time we would hit the road, we would just store it up here in this little bin. And that sort of works fine, but you have to remember to do that. You forget, and then the soap is falling all over the floor. And so we added this little holder. I think it's actually a little pencil holder from the Container Store. Keith attached it with a screw, plus there's also tape, double-sided tape back there holding it on, so it is really nice and secure. So now we don't have to do this little move every time we pack up camp, so it just stays there all the time. Mod 13 is add National Park stickers to the gear garage door. Now this is a picture of our camper van. I liked putting National Park stickers on our cabinet door and our fridge door, but Keith wouldn't let me do that in the EKKO. So we kind of came up with a compromise for the EKKO. So inside the garage door here, Keith will let me put my national park stickers on this door. So these are just the parks we have visited so far in the EKKO. So there's more to come there. Mod 14 is we mounted some chargers on the bin between our beds in the bedroom. So back in the bedroom here, we have these two storage bins between our beds. And we bought these chargers, so it charges our earbuds, our Apple Watch, and our phones all at the same time. But it's convenient to have this in the bedroom. And we wanted to make it secure so we could just leave these chargers here all the time. So they're attached to this board with a command strip Velcro, and then the board is attached to the top of the bin with rubber cement. So that's all nice, secure. And then what's nice about having this in the bedroom is if you put your watch here, then it also becomes, if I do it right, it also becomes a clock, and in the dark that turns to a red display, so it's not very obtrusive, and it only comes on when it detects there's motion, so it's off most of the time. But it's nice to roll over and see what time it is or have an alarm set. Mod 15 was to rework the organization of the gear on the water compartment door. So this is the water compartment. And last year we installed this organizer, and we had all our gear in here that we needed for dumping and filling our tanks. But it was rather bulky, and it seemed like it was pushing on some of this stuff over here, and we were concerned that there was too much pressure on some of these valves. So we kind of reworked this a little bit. The main thing is this hose used to be in one of the pockets, and it was just too big and bulky. So now we just added a little twisty tie at the top here, and we hang it down. And so this really kind of spread out the bulk and made it so there wasn't that pressure inside there as there was before. Mod 16 is repair the roof bag with Gorilla Tape. So we added this roof bag to the roof for additional storage. Season 5, we not only had all of our paddleboard gear up here, but we also had some backpacking gear up here. This season we only have the paddleboard gear, so it's not quite as much in there. But last year, because we had more in there, the buckles actually rode down here, and they rubbed, and they really wore some holes in here, and the bag no longer was waterproof, and we were getting water inside of it. We actually went on our 1-week solar eclipse trip without repairing the bag, but we had our paddleboard with us, and we're thinking, oh, water won't hurt it any. But we kind of had some rainstorms, and when we got back, all that paddleboard gear was soaking wet, and that's not good. If it sits there too long, it'll mold. So we really need to have it waterproof, even for the paddleboard. So at the beginning of the travels for this season, I really thought I did a really good job of adding more Gorilla Tape and trying to cover up all the holes. But again, another rainstorm proved that there was still water getting in the bag. So we'll have to come up with another solution there. We thought we would be okay because the buckles now ride up higher now that we have less in here, and they're on kind of this reinforced area. But yeah, I think we're going to have to look at something different in the future. Mod 17 is to add metal stops in the gear garage to keep stuff from sliding around back there. So here's the gear garage. There's actually 3, I don't know if that light will help any or not. There's kind of 3 places we added metal stops. This one here, this is where our camp sign goes, so it keeps it from sliding around. We've got another one back here that prevents our camp table from moving along that shelf. And then around on the other end, we added an angle iron here to keep these items in place, especially that liquid bottle. We don't want that tipping over and spilling. So it kind of holds items in place and keeps them from sliding around. Mod 18 is add a firm foam topper to Keith's mattress. Now, I've been happy with my mattress and I find it comfortable, but Keith wanted his to be a little firmer, so he bought this topper. He had to cut it to the right size because that's not a standard twin, plus he has kind of a corner angle cut off of his mattress in the back there in the EKKO, so he put that on there. It makes the fitted sheet fit a little tighter, but he's much happier with that topper on there and thinks it's kind of firmed things up for him. Mod 19 is sew elastic straps on the fitted sheet for our mattresses. So during season 5, we did find a couple occasions where the bottom fitted sheet was slipping off of the mattress. And then during our 1-week solar eclipse trip, we actually didn't travel with the, there's a mattress cover, which probably you're not supposed to leave on, but we had, but that added a little friction. But we didn't have that on our solar eclipse trip. So these sheets were slipping off all the time. So all we did was sew a couple elastic straps on that fitted sheet. And now we don't have the issue with them sliding off the mattress anymore. Mod 20 is mounted a reading light at the foot of Keith's bed. Keith, well, we both actually like to sit on our beds with our heads up at the front end of the bed and our feet towards the back. And all the reading lights that come with the EKKO are actually down at that end. So Keith added one up here at the head of his bed. This is just on a little Velcro command strip, and it's just a simple little reading light, but it also has a clip. So he can clip it right to his iPad or book or notebook or whatever he wants to have some task lighting right at hand. Mod 21 is remove the solar control panel. We were no longer using the solar controller that came with the EKKO. Its control panel was mounted right here, so we actually, since it was disconnected, we pulled it out and then just used a spare piece of plastic to cover up that hole and make it look a little nicer. Mod 22 is added a little metal strip in front of the boxes between the beds so they won't slide. So again, just a little strip of metal here attached to the step there, and it just is enough of a lip that keeps these boxes from sliding forward when we're driving down the road. So that's it for now. I'm sure we'll always be doing little tweaks as we go along. Now, don't think that all these changes are because we don't like our EKKO. We love our EKKO. These are just little tweaks to just make our life that much a little more comfortable. Thanks for watching. If you want more details about our mods, especially links to some of the products we talked about in here, look in the description below for a link to our related blog post, so check that out. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Ta-ta for now.